Good morning, students. Today, I would like to speak to you about history. And ninth class history deals with 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. And the modern world introduction you have already seen. Then changes made in the modern world, early modern period. Then England, the Civil War and the Glorious Revolution. From there, the revolution starts. What do you mean by revolution? Revolution is a sudden change. The sudden change first related to the democratic way of life happened in England and it's known as Glorious Revolution. It's around 1603. Then we have first the revolution that happened in England. Then the second is that of American independence, which happened in the year 1774. And Thomas Jefferson is one of the authors who spoke about it. Then the third one is that of French Revolution. French Revolution happened in France and the middle class has got a lot of privileges even in the rule also. So the Estate General or Versailles on 5th May 1789, what happened? We have seen there. So the outbreak of a French Revolution also we have seen. And two more revolutions are there which we will be studying afterwards. First, today in the class we will see what you call as Industrial Revolution. And in 10th class you are going to deal with Russian Revolution. So totally these four revolutions are there which changed the face of the world. So this day here we are going to deal with the industrial and social change. This is known as Industrial Revolution. This happened around 1780 to 1850. And this was called by different people in different ways. In Germany, George Michel, and in France, George Michel in France, Friedrich Engels in Germany, and Arnold Toynbee, a philosopher and economist, called Industrial Revolution. Then first it happened in Britain. Then it has happened in European countries and also in the USA. So what are the reasons for Industrial Revolution or industrial development that happened in London that we have to see? So the first question that we would ask is why it happened in Britain. Then the first reasons may be why it happened in Britain. First reason may be political stability and a unified market that was there in England. So in the 17th century, England, Wales, Scotland unified under one monarchy, and the three countries had common laws, taxation, and single currency. What happened with that? The local authorities levying local tax on goods, such kind of issues were not there. Totally, the money was widely used in Britain, and that was used by people. So the second one is agricultural revolution. What was agricultural revolution? Between 1600 and 1800, a process of agricultural revolution happened in England. So this was the process by which bigger landlords took over small farms and peasants and enclosed villages of common land. They used new methods of cultivation, animal rearing, and then made a lot of profit from that. Then a lot of landless farmers and also those who were lived by grazing animals, they were in search of jobs everywhere because their farms were taken away by big peasants, big landlords. And the third reason for why England is the development of towns, then trade, and also finance. So in the 18th century onwards, the Europe was growing in area and population. The population of 11 British towns doubled between 1750 and 1800. So the largest of them was London. Then it has become a hub of countries' markets. London also acquired a global significance. The international trade between Europe, Africa, America, and India, all these made Britain a developed country, a rich country, that we have to say. Then the movement of goods between markets helped a good network of rivers and an internet coastline which sheltered the base. Then, until the spread of railways, transport by waterways, and cheaper and faster transport was available, which was used by land in the beginning. Most of the Britain's rivers were navigable, so it is so wide, so small ships and boats could easily go through it. Then cargo on the river vessels was easily transferred to coastal ships. Then the center of the country financial system was Bank of England, which was started in the year 1694. By 1784, there were more than 100 provincial banks in England. During the next 10 years, their number trebled. By 1820, there were more than 600 banks in the provinces and all over 100 banks in London alone, in the city alone. So the financial requirements to establish and maintain big industries, enterprises were met by these banks. So this is one of the reasons for the development of industrial revolution in England. Then the fourth reason is colonies. What is that? By the middle of 18th century, Britain had extensive colonies in North America and was beginning to establish control over large part of India. And the colonies naturally provided Britain with a large market for industrial produce and also supplied it with raw materials like cotton and food grains. Colonial conquest and trade provided British merchants and banks with a large amount of capital which could be invested in industries. Industrialization requires certain preconditions. First of all, it requires concentration of wealth in the hands of those who want to invest money in production and earn profits. As we saw, such concentration of wealth took place due to agricultural revolution. The colonial conquest and trade, inevitable capital provided by the growth of banking institution in Britain. So this is the first reason for the precondition of industrialization. I repeat, first of all, there was a concentration of wealth because of the agricultural revolution, already which we mentioned, and also the colonial conquest and also trade. Then investable capital was provided by the banking institutes or institutions in Britain. And the second reason was it requires availability of workers who were willing to work for low wages. Then again we saw how the agricultural revolution forced a large part of the rural population to go to the towns in search of work. And the third reason is that it requires a large market to sell the products. This was provided first by political unification of Britain and by ending the self-sufficient peasant farms. Peasants now became workers who had to buy all their requirements from the market instead of producing them in their own farms. Market also was provided by the colonies. And the fourth reason is that industrialization requires cheap raw materials and efficient transport infrastructure. In addition to all this, it requires a rapid development of technology and adoption of the new technology in production. We shall see that in the next class.